They say love doesn't always knock loud. Sometimes it just slips in and stays. I'm Alex Lemon. These stories, they're about that kind of love, tender, tangled, a little messy, but always real. So settle in and let your heart listen. Blind Faith, Broken Fortune. Chapter 1. The Girl Who Never Looked Up. Soup's still hot, baby. Careful. Naomi slid the bowl across the formica and brushed steam off her cheeks with the back of her wrist. The diner's neon sign flickered behind her like a lazy heartbeat, casting red and blue over the booths. End of shift in tiny Harbor Falls, Georgia, meant fryers winding down and the air smelling of coffee gone stale. But Naomi Williams kept moving, shoulders set, ponytail swinging like she had someplace better to be. Isaiah Brooks sat alone at the corner booth, small fingers drumming the tabletop, head tilted like he was listening for a joke only he could hear. 9 years old, eyes clouded but curious. He sniffed the air, grinned. Chicken noodle, right? Heard it slosh when you walked over. Ain't nothing gets past you, detective, she said, letting the spoon tap his hand so he'd know where it was. Isaiah's smile stretched wide, lit the booth better than the flickering neon. Outside, across the rain-slick street, a black Cadillac idled, engine rumbling low. Naomi never noticed it. She rarely lifted her gaze past the dirty windows. Life had taught her that looking up invited disappointment. Billboards selling dreams she couldn't afford. Stars that didn't pay rent. Isaiah, though, lifted his face toward the ceiling, like he could feel the buzz of fluorescent lights. "You ever count the beats in a storm?" he asked between spoonfuls. "Storm ain't started yet, honey." "Oh, it will," he laughed. "Air smells nervous." Naomi paused, caught the scent herself. Ozone, wet asphalt, a promise of thunder. "You some kind of weatherman now?" "Just listen good," he said, tapping his ear. "World talks when folks think it's quiet." Across the street, the Cadillac's tinted window slid down an inch. Malcolm Brooks watched, elbows on the leather armrest, rain dripping off his hat brim. 54, salt and pepper beard kept neat as a banker's notebook, but his eyes were tired, million-mile, road-tired. He could buy half the county, yet couldn't figure how to sit with his own son. So he watched, every evening for weeks, headlights off, learning his boy through the kindness of a woman who wiped down tables for tips. Inside, Naomi pulled a slice of cornbread from her apron pocket, contraband from the kitchen, still warm. She broke it in Isaiah's fingers. "Sweet talk costs extra," she teased. "I'm broke," he said, "but I pay in stories." "Then talk?" Isaiah leaned in, voice dropping to a conspiratorial hush. Once there was a knight who lost his sight but could still see monsters folks didn't believe in. He paused to feel for his cup. One day he figured maybe the monsters were lonely, too. Naomi felt her throat tighten. "What happened to him?" Isaiah shrugged. "Guess we'll find out tomorrow." Somewhere behind them, the dishwasher clanged shut, signaling closing time. Bossman Hank lumbered out, bald head shining beneath the fluorescence. "Naomi, clock's off. You staying late again?" "Just finishing up," she answered, wiping crumbs. Hank's eyes flicked to Isaiah. "Liability," his stare said. Naomi kept her smile fixed but thin. "He'll scoot soon as the bowl's empty." She turned to Isaiah and lowered her voice. "Ride home all set?" "Yeah," he lied. He always lied. Nobody ever came. Naomi grabbed her umbrella, the cheap kind that flips at the first gust. "Well, I'm walking you halfway at least." She helped him into his thrift store jacket, 2 sizes too big, patched at the elbows. He smelled like laundry soap and rain-damp leaves. Outside, thunder finally grumbled. Naomi held the umbrella crooked over them both while Harbor Falls' main drag shimmered under streetlights. Isaiah's cane tapped puddles, splashing flecks onto Naomi's sneakers. "You good after Franklin Street?" she asked. "Promise." He tilted his head. "Why you always help? You got places to be." "Ain't no place warmer," she said, ashamed how fast the answer came. Truth was she closed every night with a heartache she couldn't name, and walking Isaiah cracked it open just enough to breathe. 2 blocks away, the Cadillac rolled forward. Malcolm's driver side-eyed him. "Sir, he'll be fine," the man offered. Malcolm said nothing. His chest felt too small for the question he kept swallowing. Why did the boy laugh with a stranger, but freeze when Dad spoke? At Franklin Street corner, Naomi crouched beside Isaiah. "Remember, straight past the church, second porch light on the right." "I remember." He reached out, touched her cheek. A child's awkward map of gratitude. "Miss Naomi, you sound tired tonight." She chuckled into the rain. "Boy, you don't miss a beat." He stepped off the curb, tapping away, humming low like the storm was his soundtrack. Naomi waited until his shape faded into shadow. She never looked up, so she didn't see the Cadillac tailing slow behind him. Headlights off, careful as a secret. Back at her studio apartment over a pawn shop, Naomi peeled off wet socks and stared at the cracked ceiling. No family photos, no framed quotes, just silence and the buzz of the mini-fridge. She closed her eyes and whispered a prayer she'd forgotten how to believe in. "Keep that boy safe." "Teach me how." Across town, Malcolm parked outside the gated estate, watching Isaiah's nanny hurry him inside with flustered apologies. The billionaire's hands shook. Every night he planned to thank the waitress, maybe tip her enough to change her life. But gratitude felt like debt, and Malcolm hated owing anyone. Rain hammered the Cadillac roof. He leaned back, wondering how long a grown man could watch kindness from the dark before stepping into the light. Chapter 2. The Man Behind the Glass. Malcolm Brooks leaned against the floor-to-ceiling window of his penthouse office, 25 stories above downtown Harbor Falls. Below, the same summer storm that soaked Naomi now polished the streets into rivers of chrome. He held his phone like a loaded weapon. "Hank, you owe me. Let the girl go tonight," he said, voice low enough to rattle the whiskey cubes on his desk. Hank's grunt crackled through the speaker, then the line went dead. One order, one life shuffled. Malcolm told himself it was only a test. Still, the moment felt dirty, like slipping hush money into a church basket. He stared at his reflection in the glass. Tailored suit, silver cufflinks, eyes nobody trusted anymore. Somewhere in that mirrored darkness, he saw Isaiah's face, small and bright, shining through his own shadow. He looked away first. The elevator chimed. Julius, his driver, stepped out with a steaming paper bag. "Take out from Lou's, sir, fried catfish." Malcolm waved him off. Appetite had left the room hours ago. Lightning flashed, and with it came a memory. Grandmama's porch down in Savannah. Cicadas buzzing like rattles. She used to spin tales after supper, voice soft as quilted cloth. One night she spoke of Leopard and Firefly. Leopard strutted through the jungle bragging on his gold coat, thought he owned every path. Firefly just blinked gentle light for travelers. When a monsoon flooded the forest, Leopard's spots dragged him down in mud, but Firefly's spark led the lost to high ground. Grandmama ended with a clap. "Never judge a soul by the shine on its back, baby. True light lives inside." Malcolm was 10, already dreaming of stock options and barely listened. Tonight, the story drummed louder than the rain. He opened a tablet, pulled up the diner's security feed. Yes, he paid Hank enough for cameras. Naomi stood before Hank, apron folded, head bowed but unbroken. No begging, no tears. She just said, "Thank you for the chance," shook the old man's hand, and kissed Isaiah's curls goodbye. Malcolm felt his lungs hitch. Test passed, but what grade did it give him? As Naomi slipped into the storm, Isaiah pressed his face to the diner glass, cloudy eyes searching sounds. Malcolm caught himself whispering, "Turn around, kid." Isaiah didn't. Of course, he couldn't see the Cadillac waiting at the far curb. Malcolm slammed the tablet shut. His office lights blacked out on motion sensors, leaving only city glow and a man-sized silhouette in the glass. "You're Leopard," he muttered. "So what you gonna do now, Cat?" He strode to the elevator, surprise even to himself. Lobby marble hissed under his shoes minutes later. Julius blinked. "Boss?" Keys, no driver. The Cadillac rolled into the rain, wipers slapping like a preacher's tambourine. Malcolm's heartbeat followed the rhythm. He trailed Naomi's figure. Thin raincoat, umbrella flipped wrong way, still trucking. Every block he rehearsed some grand entrance. "I'm Isaiah's father. I'm sorry. Here's money." Each version felt like sandpaper on the tongue. Naomi ducked into a 24-hour laundromat. Fluorescent buzz bounced off glass washers. Malcolm killed the engine and watched her load a single basket. Cheap uniforms, Isaiah's spare hoodie. She added quarters one by one like prayers, then dropped onto a plastic chair, head in hands. The loneliness in that pose hit Malcolm like cold water. Money could hire 50 nurses, buy stadiums of applause, but it couldn't teach a woman to cradle a child she didn't birth. He pushed the door open. Bells jingled. Soap smell wrapped him. Naomi didn't look up. Same rule as always. He cleared his throat. "Machine free?" Stupid opener, but it got her eyes, big, brown, wary. "Plenty," she said. "I got nothing fancy, though, just cold rinse and hope." Malcolm managed to chuckle. "Story of my life." First genuine laugh he'd felt in months, and it scared him worse than a hostile takeover. They sat in silence, save for tumbling denim. After a spell, he asked, "That kid at the diner, he yours?" "No, just a friend." Her shoulders eased as she spoke of Isaiah, how he counted thunder, how he loved cornbread more than cake. She never once mentioned his last name or the car that watched him. She saw the boy, not the bankroll. Malcolm said, "You ever worry kindness might cost you?" She gave a half smile. "World already broke me once. What's left ain't for sale." Same words she'd told him, masked as a stranger, yet hearing them face to face shook ground under his feet. Spin cycle hummed. Rain beat steady on the roof like Grandmama's drum circle. Malcolm pictured Leopard sinking, Firefly shining overhead. He swallowed. "Name's Mac," he lied, sticking out a hand. She shook it, palms calloused from dishes, warm as sunrise. A text pinged his phone. "Julius. Young master asleep. Good night, sir." Malcolm pocketed the device. Night wasn't close to over. Wash done, Naomi dragged her bag toward the door. Malcolm opened it for her, umbrella ready. She hesitated. "You're not going to melt?" He grinned, surprised at himself. "Maybe I want to learn how folks swim." They stepped into the storm together. Water splashed their ankles. City lights smudged into watercolor. For one heartbeat, the billionaire felt weightless, like Leopard shedding his spots. Across the street, a street lamp flickered out, then reignited, tiny spark against the dark. Grandmama's voice followed the thunder. "True light lives inside." Malcolm Brooks finally understood the line, and it scared him in the best possible way. Chapter 3. The Test of Shadows. Naomi flicked off the diner's neon sign, but the bell over the door jingled one last time. A stranger stepped in, rainwater dripping from the brim of a cheap Braves cap. He wore a battered field jacket, the kind army surplus sells for $15. She'd seen enough hustlers to clock a disguise, yet something in his posture, like a man bracing for a punch, made her keep the lights on. "Kitchen's closed," she called, wiping a booth. "Just coffee," he said, voice low and steady. "Cash on the counter, no worries." That voice felt familiar, like a jazz riff she couldn't name. Naomi poured the last of the pot. The stranger wrapped chilled fingers around the mug, studying her the way folks check cracks in fine china. Outside, Harbor Falls breathed storm clouds and sirens. Street lamps painted wet asphalt gold, but inside the diner only the jukebox whispered. Sam Cooke, almost gone flat. "You work late a lot," he said. "Bills don't clock out," she answered, sliding him the sugar. "Ever think about quitting?" She snorted. "Ever think about the moon falling?" "Same odds, mister." He watched her tuck loose curls behind one ear. "Get to the point, Brooks," he scolded himself. But every question on his tongue sounded like an ambush. So he tried another route. "I met a kid tonight, Isaiah. Sharp little dude." Naomi's shoulders softened. "He's Sunshine on two legs." "That right?" "Sunshine costs, though. Why look after him?" She shrugged. "Why does grass push through concrete? 'Cause love's stubborn like that." The line stung Malcolm, hidden beneath that cap. He sipped burnt coffee to swallow guilt. Time for the test. He fumbled his wallet, accidentally, bills poking out, then slid the mug away and rose. "Keep the change." He headed for the door without checking if she took the bait. Would she chase the money or the truth? "Sir!" Naomi's voice cut through Sam Cooke. She caught his sleeve halfway to the exit, pressed the wallet into his palm. "You left your whole life sitting on the counter." He met her eyes, midnight brown and steady. Not a flicker of greed, only concern. "Why give it back?" he asked. "Because it ain't mine, and you look like you already lost enough." Thunder rattled the windows like applause. Malcolm's chest tightened. "Leopard, meet Firefly," Grandmama whispered. He nodded thanks and eased into the booth again. "Name's Mac." "Naomi," she replied. "What broke you, Naomi?" She folded arms tight, battle stance. "World already broke me once," she said, voice barely above the hum of the fridge. "But broken things can still hold love, long as you don't throw 'em out." Silence stretched, thick as grits. In that hush, the storyteller's wind blew through the diner, carrying an old African tale. Hear now, children of the night breeze, of Tortoise and the Great Shadow. Tortoise bragged his shell could hide him from any danger, while Shadow mocked, "You hide, but you never know what lives inside that shell." One dry season, fire swept the plain. Animals scattered. Tortoise ducked inside, certain he was safe, but smoke curled through the cracks and stole his breath. Shadow wrapped him, whispering, "A shell may guard the body, but only open hearts let the wind of life pass through." So Tortoise cracked his shell, let the air flow, and lived, though forever marked. Moral rides the wind. Armor without airflow becomes a coffin. Better to breathe and risk a bruise than to suffocate unscarred. The parable faded. Jukebox clicked to silence. Naomi exhaled like she'd heard the story too. Malcolm leaned in. "You afraid of anything?" "Being seen wrong," she said. "Folks see a tired waitress and think that's all there is." She glanced at his coat. "What about you, Mac? What's your shadow?" He hesitated. "Folks see this jacket and think I'm nobody, but truth is, I'm scared they're right." Naomi smiled, not unkind. "Then maybe we both need better mirrors." Her phone buzzed. A text from Hank. "Rent past due, job gone." Her throat tightened, but she slid the phone away, face unreadable. Malcolm watched the silent blow land and marveled. No tears, no curse, just a slow breath as if pain were a roommate she'd long accepted. He made himself ask, "You okay?" "Storms, just wind and water," she said. "Our roots decide if we stand." Rain eased outside. Dawn's first gray peeled the night sky. Time had slipped. "I'll walk you out," he offered. Under the diner awning, they shared the newborn light. Cars hissed over puddles, smell of wet pine drifting in. She opened a busted umbrella, but he stepped into the drizzle bareheaded. Droplets slid down to his grin. "Kinda nice feelin' the sky," he said. Naomi laughed. "Look at you, country boy." "City boy relearning," he corrected. His heart thrummed, part fear, part freedom. She turned to go, but paused. "Mac, you ever need a better mirror, you know where to find me." He nodded, words stuck behind years of boardrooms. She disappeared down Maple Street, yellow streetlights winking off, one by one, as if the town itself were blinking awake. Malcolm walked to the Cadillac parked 3 blocks back. Julius stared, shocked at his soaked boss. Malcolm only said, "Morning, brother. Let's head home. Got plans to rewrite." Driving past the diner, sun broke through clouds, painting the windows gold. Grandmama's moral echoed with the engine's purr. Armor without airflow becomes a coffin. Shed the shell, breathe, and live. And Malcolm Brooks finally cracked a smile wide enough for daylight to slip in. Chapter 4. The Eyes That Could See. Naomi hit the diner door at dawn, keys jangling like alarm bells, and froze. Isaiah's usual booth sat empty, spoon resting where his fingers always found it. Hank shuffled up, eyes dodging hers. "2 men in suits grabbed the boy around 4, he muttered. "Said they were taking him to some fancy clinic upstate. Papers looked legit." Naomi's breath fumbled, rattling her ribs. She dropped the keys, sprinted outside, and punched Malcolm's number. No answer, just voicemail and a polished voice she barely recognized. A streak of panic cut through the rising sun as she spotted fresh tire grooves winding north. She gunned her rust-red Corolla onto the highway, windshield wipers smacking a mist that hadn't decided to rain yet. Her mind skipped like a warped record. Mac lied. Mac knew. But Mac loved that boy, didn't he? She hit 80, praying the engine held out. 20 miles up, a break in the pines revealed a rest stop. Black SUV, government clean plates. Naomi swerved in, heart boxing her ears. She rushed the SUV, but it was empty. Just a fresh coffee smell and a forgotten stuffed lion on the back seat. Her chest caved. Isaiah never traveled without that lion. Thunder finally lumbered overhead, and rain came hard. She ran inside the rest stop bathroom, palms slapped against cool tile, mind spinning. Out of nowhere, an old janitor appeared, broom squeaking. "Child, you looking for what's gone, but you ain't seeing what's in front," he said. His voice rolled like river stones, thick with low-country grit. "Let me tell you about Eagle, who lost her hatchling." Eagle flew frantic, cussin' the wind, till Turtle said, "Open your ears, not your wings." Eagle stopped flappin', heard her baby cry beneath a bush she'd flown past 10 times. Moral is, ears can find what eyes can't. The janitor winked, then vanished down the hall. Naomi's phone buzzed with a text pin. Maplewood Playground, Harbor Falls. No name attached. She bolted. Tires spitting gravel as rain blurred the world into moving watercolor. She reached the old playground in minutes, brakes screaming. Swings creaked like ghosts. Then, a soft hum. Isaiah's voice, counting raindrops. She dashed across mud, dropped to her knees and wrapped him tight. "Miss Naomi, I knew you'd hear me," he whispered. These folks want to lock me where the walls talk too loud. His body shook, soaked to the bone. She tugged her jacket over him. Another car idled nearby, headlights dim. Malcolm stepped out, no disguise this time, rain trailing off his overcoat like silver vines. Hook. The billionaire's eyes looked hollow, like he'd run out of breath quicker than Cash. "I called off the transfer," he said, voice cracking. "But they'd already left. Took me a minute to track 'em." He knelt, rain plastering his hair. "I'm sorry. Thought money could buy the best care. Forgot it can't buy peace." Naomi's anger flashed, then slipped beneath the weight of the moment. "Isaiah ain't a stock to manage," she said. "He's a heartbeat. You want to help him? Listen." Malcolm nodded, rainwater washing pride off his face. He reached for his son. Isaiah touched his father's palm, then guided it to Naomi's. "Y'all both here now. Feels bright." Police sirens bloomed in the distance. Hank had filed a missing child report. Malcolm stiffened, thinking scandal, headlines. Naomi squeezed his hand. "Let it come." "Truth don't drown," she murmured. They walked together toward the sirens, Isaiah between them, small hands linking their fractured worlds. Streetlights flicked off as dawn broke full, painting the playground gold. Storyteller's breeze carried one last parable. In the land of dusk, blind goat and proud rooster argued who saw farther. Rooster boasted of sunrise colors. Goat laughed, saying he felt dawn through his hooves. When eclipse came, Rooster panicked in the dark, but Goat trotted sure-footed, guiding them both home. Moral rides that breeze, eyes brag, feet know. Trust what leads you steady when light gets strange. The patrol cars arrived. An officer stepped out, hand hovering near his belt. Before anyone spoke, Isaiah lifted his chin toward the man. "Sir, can I ride home with my dad and Miss Naomi?" The officer took in the scene. Child safe, parents united, then waved them on with a knowing nod. Back in the Cadillac, heater blasting, Malcolm glanced at Naomi. "You still mad?" She rested Isaiah's lion in the boy's lap and faced Malcolm square. "I'm tired, not mad. Tired of folks thinking care's a contract. If you want to be in his life, be in it. No buy-ins, no board votes." Malcolm exhaled like unclenching a decade. "Deal." He extended a trembling hand. Naomi took it, solid, calm, while Isaiah dozed, a soft smile blooming. Outside, the storm rolled east, leaving Harbor Falls washed clean as a newborn promise. Chapter 5. The Dinner Without Silverware. The iron gates of Brooks Manor groaned like they were waking from a long sleep, and Naomi's breath misted in the late evening chill. She had swapped her diner sneakers for scuffed church flats and wrapped a thrift store blazer over her nerves. No driver waited. Malcolm himself opened the front door, jacketless, sleeves rolled as if he belonged to the staff. Marble floors and chandeliers glimmered behind him, yet he looked more afraid of the house than she was. "Hope you're hungry," he said. "Kitchen's this way." He led her past oil portraits and velvet drapes into a back hallway that smelled of cornbread and pepper. A small table was set in the butler's pantry. No linen, no crystal, just 2 chipped plates, a pot of rice, a skillet of lemon chicken, and 3 mismatched chairs. Isaiah already sat in one, swinging his feet, stuffed lion tucked in the crook of his arm. "Miss Naomi, Daddy cooked," he announced, leaning toward the spices in the air. Malcolm scratched his neck. "Kids hyping me up. It's a boxed mix." Naomi smiled, nerves cracking a little. "Boxed love still fills plates." They bowed heads, Malcolm stiffly, Isaiah eager, Naomi steady. When her amen faded, Isaiah reached for a fork, but touched only an empty cloth napkin. "No silverware tonight. Malcolm said, clearing his throat. Thought we could try it your way. Naomi blinked. My way? Simple, he said. Food, hands, conversation. No armor. The billionaire lifted a drumstick with awkward grace and chuckled when grease slicked his cuff. Isaiah giggled, following suit. Naomi hesitated, then broke off a piece of chicken and tasted. Butter, lemon, too much salt. Perfect in its imperfection. Conversation crawled at first. Malcolm asked about the diner, about the laundromat, about why someone who worked 2 jobs still found time to walk a half-blind boy home. Naomi shrugged. I walk because my feet still work. He swallowed, harder than the rice. I lied to you. Yeah, she said softly. I know. Silence pressed in, heavy as a velvet drapes. He forced himself past it. Money makes people see a suit, not a man. I thought hiding made me honest. She wiped her fingers on the napkin. Hiding just makes you lonely with company. Isaiah traced the grain of the table. I can't see faces, but I feel when folks back away. Daddy, you back away a lot. Malcolm's shoulders caved. I'm here now, son. Trying. Storytime wind drifted through an open transom, and with it came a voice older than the house itself. Here, children? The tale of crocodile and weaver bird. Crocodile ruled the river, scales hard, smile wide, never needing help, so he thought. Weaver bird stitched nests above the water, tiny heart beating fearless. One drought day, mud trapped crocodile's belly. His scales baked like cracked clay. He roared for followers, but they fled dry banks. Only weaver bird fluttered down, dropping wet leaves on his eyes, shade on his throat, singing until clouds answered. Rain freed the beast. Crocodile asked, Why rescue one who could swallow you whole? Bird replied, River belongs to all who thirst, and even jaws must drink. Moral rides the ripple. The mighty fall fastest when pride drinks first. Mercy lets them rise. The wind settled. Naomi exhaled as if the story spoke for her. Malcolm cleared plates, insisting she sit. When he returned, he set a small clay bowl between them. Peach cobbler cooling, crust imperfect. Grandmama's recipe, he said. She told stories like that bird. Naomi tasted the filling, eyes stinging at the warmth. I'd like to meet her. She's been gone a while, he murmured, then brightened. But her garden's still out back. Tomatoes the size of baseballs. Want to see? Hook. Midnight tour through a billionaire's garden. Fireflies trading secrets above tomato vines. They stepped onto dew-slick grass. City lights hummed beyond the hedge, but here crickets led the choir. Isaiah walked the path with his cane, brushing mint leaves. Smells green, he whispered, grinning. Malcolm plucked a tomato, pressed it into Naomi's hands. Not for sale, he said. She laughed. So it's safe to love? He met her gaze, raw, unguarded. I'm learning. A sudden rustle sent Isaiah spinning, cane up. A stray dog burst from the shrubs, tail thumping. Isaiah knelt, fearless, letting the dog lick cobbler crumbs off his palm. Everybody's hungry for something, he said. The moment cracked open Malcolm's heart wider than any deal had. He knelt too, ruffling the dog's ears, eyes glistening. Naomi watched father and son crouched in dewy moonlight, and the iron gates of her own guarded heart began to thaw. The dog trotted off. A distant church bell rang midnight. Malcolm offered his arm. Naomi took it. They led Isaiah inside, the mansion suddenly feeling neither small nor large, just full. Chapter 6. The Table for Three. Opening day of Sunrise Cafe hit Harbor Falls like sweet tea on a scorching afternoon. The smell of cinnamon waffles drifted over Jefferson Street, pulling folks through the turquoise door Malcolm Brooks had painted himself. Hook, A billionaire in rolled-up sleeves, pouring coffee for strangers, while news cameras lingered outside hungry for a headline he no longer feared. Inside, chalkboard walls listed every dish at a price tag of 0. Naomi moved like a conductor behind the counter, directing volunteers, flipping grits with one hand, soothing a crying toddler with the other. She wore a faded denim apron, but the glow in her eyes could have lit the whole block. Isaiah bounced between tables, cane tapping, offering biscuits the size of his grin. "Eat up, y'all," he laughed. "Hunger don't clock out." Around noon, Malcolm's board chairman, slick as oiled marble, marched in. "Sir, investors see no return on this charity," he hissed. The room tightened. Cameras crept closer, hoping for a train wreck. Malcolm wiped his hands on a dish towel. "Ain't about return," he said, voice calm but iron-laced. "It's about repair." Chairman bristled, but Isaiah tugged the man's coat. "Sir, taste the peach jam, might sweeten your mood." Laughter rippled, tension cracked like a dropped plate. Naomi watched Malcolm breathe through the storm, admired how transparency looked on him. Yet doubt nipped. Could their lives mix without drowning each other's dreams? She cleared tables, mind churning. Hook. A question more dangerous than any reporter: can love survive success? Late afternoon power flickered. Summer thunderclouds bullied the sky, thunder growling like a bass drum. Kitchen lights died, fridge hummed to a stop. Gas stoves still worked, but the crowd murmured. Naomi clapped twice. "Story time while we wait," she called, nodding to a corner stool. Malcolm lifted Isaiah onto it. The boy raised his chin, smile confident. Isaiah's voice rolled steady, almost musical. Grandmama used to tell of Drummaker and Empty Bowl. Drummaker carved beats so strong they shook mountains, but he ate alone, bowl always bare. One drought, villagers begged him to drum for rain. He said, "Fill my bowl first." They had nothing to give, so Empty Bowl traveled river to river, asking clouds for crumbs of water. Clouds laughed. Empty Bowl stayed patient, wide open. At dawn, dew filled it, drop by drop. Drummaker saw the little water, felt shame, and drummed anyway. Clouds split, rain danced. Drummaker's workshop flooded, but Empty Bowl floated, sharing water with everyone. Moral rides that rhythm. Hands that stay open may feel empty, yet they catch blessings cups can't hold. Silence settled soft as a hymn, broken by flick. Lights returned. Applause boomed off brick walls. Naomi wiped a tear with a flour-dusted knuckle. Malcolm caught her eye over the crowd. Relief and something deeper passed between them. Evening found the cafe quiet, chairs stacked. Rain tapped windows gentle as fingernails. Malcolm brewed chamomile, 3 mugs, no silver spoon fuss. They sat at a corner table, father, son, and the woman who never looked up, yet always saw. Isaiah inhaled the steam. "Feels like I can see right now, through my smile." He reached for their hands, linking them. Naomi turned to Malcolm. "Crowd's gone, cameras too, still sure about this place?" He squeezed her fingers. "I'm sure about the people in it." His voice trembled with an unlearned softness. "Stay? Run it with me. Not as staff, as partner." Her heart stumbled. "Business partner?" "Life partner, if you'll risk it." Hook. The biggest deal of his life, signed with hope instead of ink. Rain drummed harder, thunder rolled approval. Naomi exhaled slow, feeling the echo of Drummaker's lesson. "Open hands, open heart." "I'm in," she said, "but no shells, no shadows." He nodded, a grin wide as daylight. "No armor, just breath." Isaiah squeezed tighter, swinging their joined hands like jump rope. "Told you to, sunshine's cheaper than electricity." They laughed till their ribs ached. Outside, street lamps flickered on, catching rain in gold halos. Across the block, hungry folks read the hand-painted sign, "Come eat, pay with a smile." Inside, 3 silhouettes lingered at the window, proof that sight lived deeper than eyes. Final moral, whispered like dusk settling over magnolia trees. A table set with open hearts feeds more than hunger. It teaches the blind to see and the wealthy to feel. When love stays after the lights cut out, every soul in the room finds vision.